What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to another Battlefield 6 gun guide. In today's episode, we're going to be diving into the new LMG that was added with Season 3. This is the RPK-74M, not to be confused with the existing RPK-M in the game. Compared to that one, we've got lower damage, but a faster rate of fire. And let's take a look at those stats here. Our rate of fire value on this is 685 rounds per minute. And when it comes to damage, this is going to be a 5 to 7 shot kill to the body, depending on the range. And what this means for our time to kill potential in that 5-shot kill range is, unfortunately, it's very slow at 350 milliseconds. In fact, it's tied with the KTS-100 as being the slowest killing LMG in the entire game. And while this does kill faster than the KTS at longer ranges at least, it's still a slow time to kill no matter what range you're at here relative to the other LMGs in the game. And this is something that is very noticeable while playing with this. Now, it is worth noting, if we mix 3 headshots in without any special ammo, or 2 headshots in with hollow point or synthetic ammo, we can cut down the number of shots it takes to kill. But interestingly, even if you do that up close and you get a 4-shot kill by mixing those headshots in, we still have a worse than average time to kill for the LMGs at 263 milliseconds. So that really goes to show just how slow this kills relative to the others. Even if you reduce the number of shots by 1, you're still killing slower than the other LMGs. Next up, let's have a look at our range values, and not surprisingly, we have the same damage range drop-off points as most of the other LMGs at 21.5 meters. That's where it will drop off to a 6-shot kill, and then it drops off to a 7-shot kill beyond 75 meters. And one thing I wanted to point out here is our time to kill at range relative to the KTS. Since these do kind of compete with each other as being very accurate long-range guns, you'll see the accuracy in just a little bit. But you can see here, we are killing faster than the KTS-100 beyond 21.5 meters. And that's nice to see, even though we are still killing slower than essentially all of the other LMGs. As for our muzzle velocity, this is once again tied with the KTS, but this time it's at the top of the list at 840 meters per second, so it has an excellent muzzle velocity value. And that really helps it in those situations where this gun excels, which is longer ranges. Then taking a look at our hipfire, it does have standard hipfire for an LMG, meaning you generally want to try to avoid hipfiring, especially with the very low damage of this gun. Unless you're in like a point blank situation or a desperate situation, I'd stay far away from hipfire. And now let's finally take a look at recoil and spread, and as we can see here, this is a very accurate gun. Now, is it as accurate as the KTS-100? No, not quite, but it is a close second. It is definitely the second most accurate LMG, and it is very accurate. And that's where this gun really gains its advantage. Sure, it kills slower theoretically than the other LMGs at longer ranges, but you're a lot less likely to be missing shots due to this recoil as well as the muzzle velocity for long ranges. And unlike the other LMGs, you rarely have to pause and tap fire or fire in short bursts. You can literally just full auto people even at somewhat longer ranges with this gun and then just control the recoil manually. And therefore, in a realistic long-range gunfight, you're often killing faster than you would with the other LMGs. In either case, let's move on to our handling stats. And as we can see here, our aim down sight time is excellent at 300 milliseconds, at least excellent for an LMG. And our standard magazine capacity is 45 rounds, which really isn't a lot for an LMG, but it's not bad compared to something like an assault rifle, for instance. And we've got great reload times for an LMG at 2.78 seconds for our standard reload time, or if we're using a fast mag attachment, it'll be 2.46 seconds. Now, it is also worth noting we have access to an up to 95 round mag, and with that, while we do have a slower reload time than the other 2 reload values at 2.95 seconds, that's still a very fast reload time for such a large magazine at 95 rounds. So relative to the other LMGs, this gun absolutely excels in the handling department. And then finally, for our base multiplayer stats, when it comes to our mobility, this is just the same as the other LMGs. And like the others, it of course pairs very well with the support class, since that will bring our sprint speed value up to the level of all of the other weapon classes. And that right there wraps it up for the multiplayer section. Now, just a quick look at REDSEC. And in REDSEC, against 2 armor plates, it's going to take you 10 to 13 shots to kill to the body, depending on your range. And that means our up-close time to kill potential is 788 milliseconds, which is very noticeably slower than the average for LMGs in this game. And at a distance, it's still slower at 1051 milliseconds. But we do see the same scenario I've been talking about here, where at long ranges, you're more likely to be hitting shots, and therefore, realistically, you're likely to be killing faster than many of the other LMGs. And it is worth noting, compared to the KTS, this kills faster in all ranges due to the rate of fire and how many shots it takes you to kill. So even up close, we are gaining an advantage over the KTS-100. And as a result, as far as I can tell, this is going to be a very good option for REDSEC, especially if you pair it with a gun that excels in close ranges, because you still ideally don't want to be taking close range fights with this, but mid to long ranges, this gun absolutely excels. And with all of that covered, we can finally get into some excellent attachment combinations, and the first one I wanted to share is my accuracy build. And this is really leaning into the strengths of this gun nicely. So with it, I'm using the CCO 2X optic. Usually I don't go much higher than a 1.75, but with a gun like this, I feel comfortable going up to a 2X. Then I'm using the 50 milliwatt violet laser, so I can actually strafe a little bit in gunfights, even at longer ranges, and maintain a lot of that accuracy. On top of that, we've got the flash comp on there to reduce recoil a little bit. The heavy extended barrel, that's a no-brainer for an attachment setup like this because we got an amazing muzzle velocity at 1,050 meters per second. And this also reduces the amount of spread we experience as we continue firing. On top of that, we have the slim angled grip, partially to help with our handling stats to keep our aim down sight time quite nice at 300 milliseconds. But that also helps a little bit with your draw speed and slightly with recoil as well. I've also got the standard 45 round mag on this. That's more than enough for a gun like this in my eyes. The hollow point ammunition, so those headshots are going to be a lot more effective for you. And then finally, we're just topping it off with that aftermarket buffer, which is going to reduce visual recoil a bit. And with this setup, as you can see, it is insanely accurate, even more accurate than the base version of the gun, of course. And this is now very comparable to what you'd see with the KTS, for instance. And you can just full auto people. You don't really have to worry about spread at all with this. And this is just an excellent way to use this gun if you are going to be playing to its strengths, which is primarily trying to keep yourself at mid to somewhat longer ranges. Now for me, I often struggle to hold myself back that much, so the next build I wanted to share is my versatile build, and it's the build I tend to gravitate toward just because it suits my playstyle better, even though I do think the previous build is probably the better build overall for a gun like this. But with this particular build, we're using a lower zoom optic, the Miniflex 1X. We once again have the violet laser on here. This time I'm using the long suppressor to help a bit with recoil, but also keep me off the radar. I once again have the heavy extended barrel on there. This time I'm using the slim hand stop on there to keep a reasonable aim down sight time and to improve my draw speed. For my magazine, I've got the 45 round fast mag this time, so I have slightly faster reloads. I'm once again using hollow point ammo. I do find that is quite important with a gun like this, just so it gives you that opportunity to hit those headshots and actually see those benefits from them more consistently. And then finally, we're once again topping it off with the aftermarket buffer, so quite similar to the previous build, just a bit more geared towards stealth and slightly closer ranges, although I still try to keep myself out of point blank ranges if I can avoid it. And there we go. That's finally going to wrap it up for today's gun guide on the RPK-74M. And when it comes to my thoughts on this gun, as I've been saying throughout basically the entire video, it's an excellent mid to long range weapon. And if you play to its strengths, you can definitely find plenty of success with this. In saying that though, if you find yourself outside of those situations, it's often going to feel like a pea shooter. There have been so many situations where I'll shoot first and perfectly on target and not miss a bullet and still just get insta-deleted by a different gun in the game. And that's something you have to be prepared for with this gun if you fail to keep yourself at those longer ranges. So for me personally, it doesn't suit my playstyle super well, but I can at least recognize the strengths of it. And if I am ever needing a really accurate long-range gun, I would honestly gravitate toward this one over the KTS-100. Now, of course, those are just my thoughts, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about the RPK-74M in those comments down below. Do you guys really like this gun, or maybe not so much? Also, if you guys have missed any of the previous gun guides, including the new M16, I've already got that one covered. I will leave a link to the playlist in the description down below. And if you enjoyed this one, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.